TNT Sports is live here in Pocono, Pennsylvania. For the Pennsylvania 500, Sunoco and TNT are teaming up to offer fans a chance to win 10,000 gallons of free gas with the Free Fuel 5000 sweepstakes. Go to freefuel5000.com and get all the details. Here's Denny Hamlin, about a little over 3 seconds in front of Kurt Busch. Then it's Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson.
And Wally, you were right. Biffle, with those fresh tires, was able to pass the 11th car. And it's kind of driven away from him.
Biffle currently scored 39th, the last car on the lead lap. So do you think Denny Hamlin's favorite track is going to be Pocono?
My guess would be yes.
There's Biffle. More on Biffle from Matt.
Bill, his day has taken a definite turn for the worse. They checked the pressures in all 4 tires. There was nothing amiss. Biffle says it just felt like there was something wrong with the tires. Now keep in mind, a little bit different left side tire here this weekend than what the guys had back in June. Some guys have really hit on the setup with it. Some guys have struggled trying to find that good comfort feel. But boy, Biffle is certainly going to take a hit in the points if he can't battle back from this hindrance here.
Good point, Matt. And a lot of guys in that championship picture having problems here today. You know, a lot of guys were watching our TNT coverage of the British Open earlier today and over the weekend. Our buddy Ernie Johnson unable to attend the British Open in the 18th tower. Ernie undergoing treatment for cancer. We know Ernie's tough. He has to work with Charles Barkley every week. Ernie, take care of yourself. We wish you best of luck in your recovery. We'll continue from Pocono. 117 laps complete in the Pennsylvania 500 at the Pocono Raceway, and Denny Hamlin has led 75 of the 117. He won here in June, going for the season sweep. Dale Jarrett's on pit road. Marty.
Well, he hung on as long as he could on those old tires. The car has been tight for DJ. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, trying to loosen them up. They pulled a spring rubber out on the last stop. It didn't help the chassis a little bit, but as Wally pointed out, when you're out there on old tires and everybody else has new tires, it makes a huge difference. 4 tires for the 88 crew. He's back out on the racetrack.
Thanks, Marty. Denny Hamlin, the race leader, 4.4 seconds in front of Kurt Busch. Let's take you through the field and start with Allen.
Well, remember back in the June race here, Denny Hamlin spun out early in the race and then rallied back from 40th to win. Well, I talked with his crew chief, Mike Ford, this morning, and he said, we got the spin out of the way early this weekend. On a cool-down lap from a practice run Friday, Denny looked to try and avoid another car and spun. Didn't hurt anything on the race car. It's going well now. Kurt Busch running second behind Denny Hamlin, discussed both adjustments on his car and the car he's chasing with his crew chief Roy McCauley a moment ago.
Car's a little tight in spots, but then loose on the late exit because of the sway bar. And for your lap times, it's you and the 11. Keep digging. You're real good. That's why I'm driving hard. He's on cruise. And he's got to figure it out. We're getting there, though.
It's been a common sentiment up down pit road today. We don't have anything for that 11 yet. Matt?
7 seconds back of the leader is a 29 of Kevin Harvick, working on his 3rd straight top 5 finish this season. Harvick says the car is tight in the center of the corner. Back on lap 115, he moved up to 3rd. They're about 6 laps away, AB, from making their next stop.
But Jeff Burton has faded back. He was running second a little while ago. He's 4th now. He's talked about his car being low on grip, says he can't run the high line. His crew chief Scott Miller said, I've got something to fix that. Jimmy Johnson's car is sliding around in all 3 corners at the back end, so they'll look to make an adjustment for that on the next stop. The championship leader is still having a very solid day. He rounds out the top 5 right now. Marty?
Alan, all day long we've talked about Brian Vickers struggling with a very tight race car, especially in turn 1. Well, finally, after several changes, they have the race car loose. The rear end wants to kick around now. He said, you know what? Actually, it's not too bad. It feels pretty good right now, Dave.
Jeff Gordon has gone nowhere. Restarted lap 92 in the 7th position. He is still logged back in the 7th position. The 20 car of Tony Stewart, well, you know what? Apparently, the 99 of Carl Edwards got into him on the last restart. Tony's reaction? Not real happy. Tony's still back in 8th position. Marty?
What a run for Jamie McMurray, who has finished 33rd and 39th in his last 2 races. Today, he has been solidly in the top 10 all afternoon long. But only about 4 laps from their next pit stop. The car extremely tight for Jamie. They made several changes on the last stop, but they hope to make more changes on this coming stop. Martin Truex Jr. says his car's bottoming out, having problems with that. Tight, but it's a little bit better on this run. Bill?
And Robbie Gordon heading for pit road. He got a flat left front.
Sure looks like it.
Matt Yoakum says that's it. So Robbie Gordon, who was running near the top 20.
A crew chief told me today he guaranteed someone
left rear.
would have a left front issue, but we haven't seen one. It is a left rear.
It's hard to drive.
He does a really good job not spinning that thing out.
It's hard to keep that thing
from
spinning out.
Matt?
Bill Pocono has not been nice to Robbie Gordon, taking a look at the replay of his tire going down. Now, back in the spring, he had radiator issues. Earlier in the race today, Robbie made the call from the cockpit that he wanted to short pit to try to gain some track position, make up some track time with fresh tires. Then the caution came out, but he lucked out and got the lucky dog, and then he climbed up to 12th until this recent tire issue.
Yep, that's where it was, Matt. You're exactly right, running 12th. Now let's continue going through the field with Marty.
Bill, as we were saying with Martin Truex Jr., he's having a problem with the car bottoming out, especially in turn 1. That's the Banks turn that Wally couldn't figure out earlier, because when you don't really see it when you're in a race car. The car is a little bit tight, but they're having a solid day. Nice run in the 9th position, Dave.
Nice run for the Kings car, the 43 of Bobby Labonte right now. Pretty good into the corner and up off the corner. It's that darn center of the corner that's bothering the 43 car right now. Matt?
And with Robbie Gordon's issues, that moves the 17 of Matt Kenseth up to 12th. Kenseth was 5th here in June. He says the car just does not like old tires. The front just has no grip, absolutely no grip. Looking ahead to their next pit stop, making at least an air pressure change. Marty?
Well, Matt, when Mark Martin finished 4th last week at New Hampshire, broke a string of 5 straight races without a top 10 finish. Big relief for the 16, and they've run in the top 15 for most of the day today. Right now, he says the car is just way too tight. They're really struggling to get it to turn in the corners. They're planning several changes on the next stop. Casey Mears hanging in the top 15 with that 2 tires on the last stop, currently in the 14th position. He said the car, though, just wants to plow, especially when he goes into turn 1. Very hard to turn. Dave?
Ryan Newman's going to have to pit between 5 and 7 laps from now. They need to make a big track bar adjustment. 3 rounds up. That car won't turn. Marty, back to you.
Well, Dave, here is Kyle Busch in the 16th position. Yes, they made 3 pit stops under 1 caution, changed the front shocks on the race car. They've made several changes to the car, and look, the car is coming back to the front. He said, you know what, right now it's not too bad, a little bit too tight, but anytime you change 2 front shocks and you can finish in the top 15, top 20, that's a pretty good day, isn't it, Bill?
You betcha, Marty. Reed Sorensen is 17th. Joe Nemechek and Ken Schrader runs 19th. And it's J.J. Yaley in the 20th spot. Those are the top 20. There are 34 cars scored on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin is the leader. Pit stops just ahead when we continue from Pocono in the Pennsylvania 500.